Hello, I'm in cow glasses. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification button before you forget. Don't forget. Okay, so this video is about Alec Baldwin seemingly taking up Buddhism and moving to a farm. All, I think, sparked by the fact that he was served with a wrongful death civil litigation by Helena Hutchins' family. And they're doing this because Alec Baldwin was the one who pulled the trigger. And so in their mind, even though there wasn't intention, he is definitely part of the wrongful death case. He shares liability in it. And I guess Alec Baldwin's upset that the family is suing him in any way, shape, or form, which I'll get into as we get into this video. Okay, so I just wanted to share with you guys that I got another Barbie as a gift before we start the video. Look at, Wonder Woman. I do product placement in film, and I got hired as a consultant on a movie, and the producer knew my birthday was coming up next week on March 1st, and so he sent me a Wonder Woman Barbie. And I just wanted to say I am so grateful because I love Barbies since I was little, and they make me think of my mom who passed away in a really awful car accident, and so she used to buy me a doll every year, and so it makes me feel like kind of nostalgic, I guess, for happier times. Okay, let's get into Alec Baldwin, shall we? On February 15, Helena Hutchins' family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Alec Baldwin in his capacity of firing the gun, as they said it was reckless. Now, it's true that he didn't follow the procedures, but I'm not sure if an actor, even looking into the gun and showing it to the crew, will know the difference between fake ammunition and live ammunition. So I think his strongest dispute on this is going to be that even though he didn't show that the cartridge was empty to the crew, in his case, in this case, it didn't matter because the ammunition in the gun was not the right ammunition. So I think he has a pretty good defense on that front. However, he didn't take any safety procedures. He didn't do any of the usual ones, so maybe just on the basis of that alone, he might be actually found to be at fault. Alec Baldwin was also a producer on the film, so they might rope in some negligence to the fact that he was also having that role, not just the actor in the movie. Some people also claimed that he shouldn't have pulled the trigger because it was, just them running through the scene, although I think that's a weak argument. I mean, as an actor, you want to do whatever methodology you need to get in character and get it right. I do think in the end of the day, he will share a small percentage of responsibility in this financially, but not to the level that the armorer or the AD who handed him the gun and said it was ready to go will have, although they may not have any money, and so that might be why they're targeting Alec Baldwin. And I feel so bad for everyone involved, actually, not just Hutchins' family, but also Alec Baldwin and his family, because this is a shitty situation any way you look at it. Now, what came out very, very recently, in fact, today, as I'm recording this video, although this video probably won't drop till Monday, is that they bought Hilaria has been stating on her Instagram that she's being hounded by the press all the time, the paparazzi, they can't go anywhere, and it's awful because they're not shouting nice things. Like, they're not like, Alec, look at the camera. They're like, Alec, how do you feel that you killed somebody? I mean, it's like dark stuff. So she wants to get the children out of there. So they just bought a 55-acre estate in Vermont, and I think they're going to move there to get some privacy for a while and get their kids out of the spotlight because they have a lot of kids. Now, Hilaria is from the East Coast, as you guys may have remembered from the scandal of her pretending to be like directly, off the plane from Spain. But so she's probably also going to be in closer proximity to her family, which will probably help, I think, at this difficult time for them. They're moving into a $1.75 million estate in Arlington. Now, they'll probably keep their big estate and mansion in New York City, too. It's not like they're, I think, moving for good, but they're definitely looking for a place to relocate as needed when it gets too crazy with all the paps in New York City. It's about 3.5 hours north of New York. And their 6 children obviously will come with them. And the home was built in the 1700s. It's a classic Vermont 18th century farm that features 55 beautiful acres, a 3,000 square foot main house, and a nicely renovated 1,800 square foot guest cottage with 2 baths. So it's about a 5,000 square foot property all in. Very cool for them. Vermont is lovely, and it's if you're going to recover anywhere, that's a great place to do it. People mind their own business. There's no paparazzi. It's very, very nice. It also has landscaped lawn areas, pleasant views, a pond, a picturesque waterfall, spillway, and substantial renovations that have been done, which is good because it's very difficult to get any renovations done because there's a construction shortage right now on supplies and everything. And it has horse stalls so they could go horseback riding. How nice. So another thing is that Alec Baldwin has claimed that he never pulled the trigger of the gun, and he's still standing by that. However, I don't understand how the gun could have released a bullet without the trigger being pulled, and it did not call for the trigger to be pressed in the script. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of debate about that aspect of things in this trial, unfortunately. Alec Baldwin is not a stranger to jury trials, and he's not intimidated by them. So I'm sure he's dreading this from a public standpoint, but I think, he does know how to handle himself with a jury in very, very high stress situations because he's been there and done this before, and so is Hilaria. Now, Hilaria had a relative that lived in this little town of Vermont where they're moving, but he's no longer around. He passed away, unfortunately, for Hilaria. Matt Hutchins gave an interview about his feelings on the wrongful death lawsuit. I'm going to play you a little of it. It was for the Today Show.
Yeah, but watching him, I just felt so angry. I was just so angry to see him talk about her death so publicly in such a detailed way, and then to not accept any responsibility after having just described killing her.
So do you think that the majority of the blame lays on Alec Baldwin?
The idea that the person holding the gun, causing it to discharge, is not responsible is absurd to me. But gun safety was not the only problem on that set. Mm-hmm. There were a number of industry standards that were not practiced, and there's multiple responsible parties.
So then all of a sudden, Alec Baldwin decides to post on his social media Buddha quotes. And of course, the tabloids went nuts because it was really weird. He said, in the same way, Rahula, the Buddha continued, when anyone feels no shame in telling a deliberate lie, there is no evil. I tell you, they will not do. Thus, Rahula, you should train yourself. I will not tell a deliberate lie, even in jest. And he wrote that on his private Ties Twitter account. And thank God the tabloids are in there. Not that private. Anyway, and then he went on later to explain it. He said, in Buddhism, being truthful goes beyond simply not telling lies. It means speaking truthfully and honestly. Yes, but it also means using speech to benefit others and not to use it to benefit only ourselves. I think Alec is having a bit of a breakdown because I think that's why he's studying Buddhism. I mean, usually you look to religion and philosophy when you're really feeling lost as a human being. I mean, to be empathetic to Alec, he's killed someone. It's not something you just kind of go, okay, I'm just going to move on. Even if he's trying to avoid the financial liability of it all, he's definitely been this is going to haunt him for the rest of his life. And Matt, Helena's husband, had to break the news to her son that she was not coming home and try to explain this to a little boy. And that is going to forever scar Matt, not to mention not having his wife in his life and have to parent his child alone. This is a devastating event that occurred for these. The big question the tabloids asked was, what did he mean by this cryptic message? Is he implying that Matt knows that it wasn't his fault and that they may have had a conversation when Helena died? I'm speculating, because they did eat together when this was all going down. When it first happened, they weren't, they were sort of mourning together. Could it be that something was said between them where Matt implied that he wasn't going to come for Alec, or maybe Alec feels betrayed that now he's changed his mind? I don't really understand this quote, but I can only assume that there might have been some words exchanged between them, and Alec feels like he's not following the actions of those words, Matt. But I mean, it's his prerogative to change his mind as he digests this horrible incident and also get proper legal counseling, and so unfortunately it is what it is. What do you think Alec Baldwin meant by posting this cryptic message and then following it up with this explanation about lies versus truth and all this stuff? What do you think? Have you guys heard any new information about any of the people involved in the case? Do tell. Put it in the comments section. I'll also put in the description of this video my previous video if you want to be up to date on the legal up to about 2 weeks ago. I actually predicted that they were going to file the wrongful death suit because we could tell they were prepping for it in that video. So it's still relevant if you want to get caught up on the Rust situation. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your day.